Oh hey man. And we're live. What's up, folks?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Dustin Garment, of course, and also don't forget my co-host. Throw as many chairs as you can. Just saying.
Uh, no, not right now.
Anyway, our special guest today is none other than we know him as the messing up jerk of Cirque. We know him as Mr. Las Vegas, and I call him just because he's in Las Vegas compared to the movie, my cousin Eddie. And Doug Saunders, how's it going, buddy?
Good. Getting ready for Grand Gathering.
I feel you there. Just quick announcements. I want to mention also, of course, we actually had a signing of him in a Zoom room. Bob Dunn, remember his recovering, and also remember Joshua Bryan. I hadn't spoke to him since last week, but I know he's off and on, going through the hospital and doctors as of right now to get healthy. And also, as mentioned as last week, remember Danielle Bias. I've got to get a little quick update from her. Just remember them at this time, and also remember, folks, we are literally a week and like 2 days
5 days.
from Grand. Well, yeah, there you go. From Grand Gathering. Thank you, Chippy. And I've got to say, my heart is pounding. I am like so ecstatic. How are you feeling, Eddie? You ready?
Yep, have fun. It's was able to fund it pretty good. I'll have some spending money. So
I hear that. So I appreciate you being on the show. I wanted to kind of go over. Now I think we were talking before the show, and I believe it was in between 17 or 18. I remember you were coming in and letting yourself known to the world, who you were, your character, of course, Eddie Fury. And then, of course, you brought Mark Perry, the alien invader. Hopefully, he won't invade this show.
They are not the same person.
that was my fault. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he brought the alien along too. So, but anyway, coming into Super Show, how'd you, where did it start?
I heard about it through Blood Bowl. I was used to go to the Chaos Cup in Chicago regularly with Johnny P, Extreme, Mike Mueller, Cactus Sack, those guys. We were actually playing with characters that ended up in the Super Show on Nintendo 64, like in 2012. We had like Eddie Fury versus Rob Graves on the Nintendo 64 on like the Friday night before the Blood Bowl tournament. And I saw that the game existed, but there was no one playing out here. And at Gen Con, I ended up wandering on it. I think it was either 2016 or 2017, Gen Con. And I picked the game up. And I played it a little bit. It was funny because Mark was there at Gen Con with me. He hates pro wrestling. So he was like totally not into it. He got into it like about a year later. We ended up playing at a Blood Bowl tournament. And he actually liked the game itself. And then he got into the community after I started doing Eddie Fury with I think it was the second Create a Character contest. The one that Sierra Nevada won. That's when I actually started doing Eddie Fury and kind of making him up as I went along.
Now, getting into it, promo wise, you were very constant, and I enjoyed your when you first came out with the hair, and you've got this red on and everything. Your promos were pretty. I was psyched just to watch them. It was
fun. And like the whole look was ad lib because I was actually going on an international trip right at the start of the Create a Character. I was going to Scotland for like a week and a half. And so I got to one of my friends that does some graphic design, and we needed a graphic for Eddie Fury. I needed a picture of Eddie Fury. And he knew it was basically a big mullet, red and black kind of stuff. And he just took a King of Fighters picture that looks like Ken and put Alice Cooper makeup and put that as a picture. And I was like literally leaving the country and I have no internet access. So I put that up for the CCC. And I said, well, I'll figure that out when I get back. So I did the makeup and I got a cheap, now I have a nice one by Split, but I had a cheap like gi. And when we cut our first promo, for CCC, I had real short buzzed hair, and I had played video games with my friend that ran the studio that I was doing my first promos out of, and he was like, "No, you need a mullet." So he got his girl to rack out the wigs, and he got a real long, like Disney princess long wig, and Googled Ricky Morton and had his girl just chop it up, and that was like the original. And then I just used that for the next year and a half until.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, until Shady Jeff won it in a match, and now he has it as like a trophy.
I gotta say though, so in these promos, you were sitting here making fun of us from Kentucky, and you're the one that used a bullet, not us.
Yeah, that was one of my first when we were doing the CCC, and I didn't know anybody, so I did a bunch of different videos where I was just like backhanded complimenting people to get, and I did one for the Three Kings, and they actually did the video back, and we started going back and forth, and that's kind of where me and Greatness started going back and forth.
I was actually filming those.
Yeah.
I remember every bit of it. Then all of a sudden, I get a random. I remember one night I get a random tag in our discussion group, and it was Mark, and then he heard somebody say, "Well, Bobby Hill," and that's the first time I started hearing Bobby Hill promos against me. So next thing you know, you got two Las Vegas people attacking Kentucky.
Yeah. Mark got real into it once I started getting into it, and he did the alien mask, and he didn't want to talk at first. He was going to me do the talking, and I got him to start talking. He's good at it. It's just like what I told him. This is my thing too. The Eddie Fury character was ridiculous from the beginning, and once you get on camera and you look the way we looked, what are you going to say that makes you look any dumber than you like? It's just like you just go out with it, you know.
Have fun with it.
Yeah,
was like in your character wise, was it supposed to like kind of like resemble something? Because to me, the first time I saw it, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Street Fighter.
Well, yeah, the picture that was used for my original art was a King of Fighters Street Fighter ripoff. So I was sort of a ripoff of Ken with Alice Cooper makeup, nice. And I kind of ran with that for a while until I got the Jerk of Cirque look, and then I actually got a better gi from Split, and I was like, it works. So I've got a little bit. I'm changing it up a little bit with Sofa King, but it's all good. He won't be out till sadly. But
gotcha.
That's what it is. That's what I do with a lot of things. Like, okay, I got this weird picture. I'm just going to turn 90 degrees into it. When people promo against me, it's my big thing. I'm like, just turn right into it. If someone says something about you, you're Bobby Hill. Just go right into it. Just don't, especially with someone like Mark. Like if you shy away from it or sell it too much, it's just going to be like, we're just going to keep hitting you with it forever.
I learned that because the first time I think I even messaged you at the beginning. I was like, I think I was like 21 or 22 when he hit me with that Bobby Hill. And I think I messaged you at first, and I was like, oh, dude, I hate this Bobby Hill stuff. I hate it. Somebody had said it around him, and man, when he heard that, he ran with it.
Mark's funny, and Mark's harmless. Like him and I have the same humor where like we really hold back on Super Show because it's family oriented, and you get things where you don't know how thick skinned or how serious people take certain things. I always say the funniest thing to me, not funniest, but kind of like, okay, when you're like, I'm new to the Super Show, I'm Doug Saunders, I'm a wrestler, and I'm going to talk crap about you, and I'm going to talk crap about you, and then when someone throws it back, you become personally offended because you put yourself in the game, and it's like, there's Steve always says it. It's like, we're all respectful, but don't throw shade at people if you're not going to take shade back. And if you're putting yourself out there and you're sensitive about something, you can be okay with it, or just be someone else. Eddie Fury is a whole separate character. And I always tell people, like, if you post something that might offend me attacking Eddie Fury, you're going to get it taken down and you're going to get banned by the moderators probably before I even see it. He's there, to throw tomatoes at and make fun of, and it's all, you yell at each other, you big a bunch of insults, you play a card game based mostly on luck, and then you just take it from there.
Hmm. And one thing, like I mentioned before on an episode, is it's always cool storyline wise, in the background, message each other, and you can actually, I could give you details about me that you don't, other people don't know. You can take shots at me, and that's how you build good storylines and stuff.
Yeah, if you've got something that's might be a little bit mean, you can like clear it ahead of time. Just a lot of times when you're doing a feud, like if you and I are feuding, I'm not really trying to insult you. You're not really trying to insult me. What we're trying to do is do enough promos that enough other people see it that they're interested in watching the match, and we have some fun. And if the GMs think it's cool, they'll give you a title shot maybe, or they'll put you, they'll put you in matches that get streamed, and that's what you're really trying to do. It's it comes out best when you have a really good match, and you both have some good promos, and you both take a little egg on your face, and you both come out of it without talking behind each other's back. Oh, fuck this guy, hell with that guy. And you take it well. That's when more people want to play card games with you and promos at you and all that. So.
Now, to backtrack a little bit, when you first went to your Super Show event, what was it like for you? What made it? What was the funnest part that you had of that day? Just getting into the
part?
LFF. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Funnest is might have been.
It's an incorrect word, but a word.
But I'm from Kentucky.
I kind of stumbled on it at Gen Con. I played Pat and Executioner, and a couple of guys I knew from Blood Bowl, Extreme and Johnny P. Not Paul Verino, but Rob Graves. They were all into it, into character. I didn't have any character work. I pretty much lost all my initial matches, but it was a lot of fun. That's when it's like that's kind of. I never really played card games. I don't come from other card games. I played war games. And the whole thing with this game is having a different character, cutting promos. You can talk trash to someone that you can't do in other games because you're not playing an alter ego. It's not based on like wrestling to begin with, So you can't go to Magic tournaments and talk shit like you do in this game. Talk whatever the word.
No, people do that all the time.
Yeah, I know, but then you get looked at negatively, and it's it's like it's a whole different thing.
Okay, so your background is more war game. So what other games? You've said Blood Bowl. What other ones were you playing back then?
I was playing Armada for a while. I'm old, so I've been playing Blood Bowl since like 86, 87, and I've played almost everything that came out between the 80s and about the early 2000s. I've probably played some of it. Then I got to become too much of an adult and had too much other things to do that I couldn't play all the game. I started like paring it down to just a couple that I can keep up with. But yeah, Necromunda, the Car Wars, Starfleet battles.
Jeez, Car Wars.
Yeah, Car Wars. It's another very old game.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff. I played all kinds of stuff. So I always kind of kept to Blood Bowl mostly because it was relatively cheap, the smaller teams, and it was heavily luck based because it's dice. High variance games were the ones I like because I can be very competitive, and you find if you play a game that's where you have all the control and it's all min maxing and all that. You get more mad when you lose. It's harder you get madder when you lose because you made mistakes and there's 100 million things you have to keep track of and track of only 900 million of them. And, you missed out on that. And once you start playing where you have to win and you're not happy when you don't win, especially in tournament games where you can, you win 5 out of 7 games, but you feel bad because it's like,
I didn't make top cut because I lost 2. Because my dice rolls suck.
Yeah, and also communities in high variance games tend to be better because the people that table flip and get so mad about bad dice don't play these games very long. It's like I hate this game. When I roll 5s and I lose, and I want a game where I can make it so I never roll 5. Well, don't play those games. There's games out there where you can do that. It's more chess and it's more a lot of different decisions you have to make that factor more into winning. Whereas there is that in Super Show and Blood Bowl and other games like that. But ultimately, if you roll a bunch of 5s, you'll lose.
Oh yeah.
or if you don't draw the cards at the right time, you draw the wrong cards. It's so a lot of times when you get good enough at this game, most of your wins and losses against good players come down to luck. You'll win a few coming from a mistake and or a bad matchup, but a lot of times it just comes down to who gets that finish first and rolls a 10.
Who gets
finish.
luckier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, then again, you could win every single turn roll, lose one. They hit a finish, and oh, look, they win.
And like when you're a good player and you know your deck tech and all that, you'll win more than you lose. But individual games still often come down to luck.
Yep.
You minimize the chances of the bad luck and maximize when you get good luck and minimize your bad luck. But the luck is still there, and it kind of it determines the close games.
We have a question from Starscreen, who is asking, who approached who for this new feud with Phil Birch?
He just started bugging me. For some reason, he just started calling my name all the time. And so I clapped back a little bit, and then he just wouldn't shut up. So now I'm gonna get his haircut. He's in a TLC match with Eddie Fury. I don't even know if he's played any stipulation matches before. I mean, he probably had one or two because he was in like one CAC, and I don't think he realizes what TLC match is with the Eddie Fury character. And I'm sure someone in DAW will kind of break it down for him. And yeah, it's not.
Oh, it's not going to be good one way or another. So, speaking on to that, how did you end up with one of the stupidly simple but strongest gimmicks that have come out?
I don't know. I like the idea of it. It's funny because it's the most babyface gimmick. The power keeps going up.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd meter, and I pitched it to Steve, and the thing is, Eddie got really powerful when other cards came out. When he first came out, there was no crowd meter booster finishers. There was no the making an impact line. You grab a lead back and protect yourself from Barry. It didn't have the draw 3 spectacles. So he had this power level that was really high if you could get to crowd meter 3+. But he has no gimmick at crowd meter 0, a very weak gimmick at crowd meter 1. So getting there was tricky, and
really? But
the way to get there was to fail a finish roll. Like I have to hit a finisher and fail, or survive finishers.
But But even thinking back now, looking at it in this day and age, you have a finisher that has built-in recursion. You have a spotlight finisher that helps you break out of finish rolls.
Yep.
And then you have a gimmick that increases with the crowd meter.
Right.
It is a character that in this day and age is ridiculous if you're able to play the way you need to play for it.
He got really strong. He took a really particular deck when he got really, really strong, and he's been toned down a wee bit. They got spotlight protections. They got the boss beat line. Because, people saw what I did with my finish, and it wasn't even the first finisher that had that effect. But now a lot of people are getting, recursion finishes. Like, Eddie Fury sets it up. Late game, I empty my deck out. Rejected hurts Eddie also. I get my deck backed out, and then I just throw the strike finish over and over again. And, it's he got real powerful when the making an impact line came out, because he lived and died by Schoolboy. That's why I ran Schoolboy all the time with him, because I had to throw finishers or survive finishers to get up there, and I would throw that like crazy, and then I could suddenly have 3 cards in my deck that would recur leads and protect me from Barry characters. And and then the cash out is the strongest breakout bonus in the game, but it also comes with I discard that card, I empty my entire hand, so then we go to the next crowd meter, I have no cards. But then they put out the spotlights where I only have less than 2 cards in my hand, I draw 3.
Yeah.
And that really made cash out a lot stronger.
I don't think a character like Eddie Fury with all of your effects could be made in this day and age of Super Show.
They still make a few. Big Bad Bobby D's, is up there.
But I'm talking a gimmick that increases with the crowd meter, finish, and with that set of finishers. You're not going to get something like that.
They've been worse.
Oh, there's definitely been worse, but it's just
they're more careful about it now. There's so many characters out there now, and it's so rare to get something new. Like, this has never been done before, which at the time, nobody did anything like Eddie Fury before.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So there's not a lot you're going to throw at them. Anything you throw at them now that's like totally outside the box, they're going to be real leery of, more than they were before. And it's real hard to find something out of the box. There's always somebody that's like, oh, there's already been this character that did almost the same thing, where they did it with they did it off of a turn roll instead of off of hitting a card, but we know what the effect does.
Yes, but it's a winding rabbit hole, because as soon as you get, it's like, oh, it's this and this, and then from there you get ridiculous effects. Like,
you can. There's a number of, the thing is, there's a lot of characters that have like a broken state, but it's how hard to get to that broken state. And at first it was really hard to get to Eddie's broken state, and then a whole bunch of cards came out that made it a lot easier. And now now they have that finally for years. I always told Steve years ago, why you added the cards that add to the crowd meter effect. Why not take a few that minuses? And he's like, I don't want to. It slows the game down. But then he made like Rejected and Apocalypse and these other things.
Which slow the game down even more.
Now they have the -2 card effects. And they didn't make it card effects. They made it all effects, specifically so it would hit,
Eddie Fury.
Fury.
Other characters that have by crowd meter effect.
Which is which the persistent ones are pretty much me and Copycat, and I basically made Copycat also. Copycat wouldn't have been made without me.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what other things Copycat can copy.
I don't know if they're gonna put out. That'd be cool to put out some new stuff with her. I've played her some. She's a lot of fun.
So, Doug, how did you originally get interested in wrestling? Or was there any interest at all?
I was a fan from a little kid. I always did, I wrestled in junior high school, and my father was a big martial arts guy for a while, so I was learning a bunch of that, and so I just kind of got into it. And then I got out of it for a little while when mixed martial arts started. I got all into that. It was like, it's real pro wrestling. And
pro wrestling, who was somebody that you kind of, who was one of your favorite wrestlers at the time?
Piper, Flair.
The big talks.
Guys from those times. Because it was like, it's weird, because in the 80s, you still knew it was not real, but nobody knew what real fighting looked like. And that's one of the things with wrestling now, when you talk about like all the Young Bucks stuff and all the kind of silly stuff they do, you could have the most real, the most hardcore, like Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen match. If you put it on today, it would look no more realistic than the Young Bucks, because nobody does a side headlock or a snapmare. Nobody grabs someone's arm and cranks it. It's like everyone sees UFC all the time now, and it's like, it's like I grew up with it, so I still like that kind of wrestling. Like, but like someone in their 20s today that never. That grew up with UFC being mainstream and knows, it's like, they're gonna look at old wrestling and it's like, it looks silly. It's just, it's
different age.
Now,
yeah, it's
one
different
thing
age. Everyone knows what real fighting looks like. So
one thing I will say, like when you look back at those old tapes, and I used to watch a bunch of old tapes because my grandpa had a bunch of them. Like he had an old stack where one thing I will say is what really kind of, I guess to kids and at the time, and a lot of adults as well, the announcers are what made it brutal. Like just by them talking.
The announcers would like help tell the stories, and and on the wrestling show they treat everything real. Sometimes, no matter how silly it is, or unrealistic it would be. Sometimes they get silly, like zombie battle royals and stuff, which are just, I don't know what you do with that. But nowadays, like a lot of like, I like the Young Bucks, but a bunch of their gimmick is making fun of pro wrestling. Like, hey, remember this cool phony thing? Look, we did the cool phony thing. Big pop, and it's like, it's its own thing. But like I said, there is no kayfabe anymore. Everyone knows what real fighting looks like. It's publicly known to be a show in a way it wasn't in the past. And it's just it's just different. It used to be wrestling on television was an infomercial. You'd never see two named guys wrestling each other. You'd only see like the end of a match where the bad guy did some horrible thing, and and then you'd have to go pay to see the show or watch the pay-per-view to see the actual guys wrestle. And when the Monday Night Wars happened and they started throwing everything on regular television, it's tough. Like when Hogan was champ, you'd see him wrestle 4 or 5 times a year, unless you went to shows regularly. Nowadays, it's even Roman Reigns it's a big problem because Roman Reigns is only on like 30 times a year.
He only wrestles at the pay-per-views, and he's only on Raw every other.
How can that make him the biggest draw when he only wrestles when people pay money in big matches? Like, go figure.
I will say, with you growing up with Flair and Hogan and wrestlers like that at the time, Monday Night Wars, was you more on the WCW side, or did you just love them both, like WWF and?
I liked them both at
WCW.
different times. I like I like the Crockett era WCW. That was my favorite because it kept it as realistic as you reasonably could, and they had a really, especially when I got older, how they handled stuff like the Horsemen was brilliant. And I love that. That's why there'll never be another Horseman, because you can't make the Horsemen again. Even if you have 4, like the Shield or other groups with guys just as talented, because they wrestle on television all the time, you can't do the Horsemen. The Horsemen lost all the time. They never won matches. They'd win like the television match against the Mulkeys, and they'd have like one match where they'd win and they'd show that match like 4 times over the next 3 months. And then you'd see they're coming to your town, finally see Dusty Rhodes get revenge on Ric Flair, and you pay your money and you get to see it. But they've been doing that 6 nights a week for the last 3 months, where Dusty Rhodes beats the shit out of Ric Flair. Sorry, I'm saying, I swear.
Oh, you're good.
This is my channel. Day. You don't,
Yeah, it's like they lose all the time. They just hold on to their belts. Then they'd get on TV and, cut their promos, like that happened. But, you'd get the old, like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines, you'd watch like down at the bottom at the back, they'd have all the results for all the house shows, and it'd just be all the Horsemen losing, or like Hulk has this feud with King Kong Bundy, and it's like, you read the back there, it's like, well, he beat King Kong Bundy 24 times that month. Like, by the time they got for the pay-per-view, why are they even like...
And Bundy wins the pay-per-view. What? Okay.
Yeah, but now back then you didn't have the social media. You'd see your hour or 2 hours of wrestling where all they do is promote the matches, and you'd see him beat up some nobody, so everyone gets to hit their finisher. Now you see all the matches on regular television. The main money is from TV rights, so you got to show that stuff on there, and it's a lot harder for wrestlers nowadays to keep things interesting and keep things going, because you get a feud in the old days, it could last 6 months, and the general audience would only see a couple matches.
And you could just do the exact same match every single night on the road. But
yeah, that's why like a lot of guys like Flair and Bret Hart, they have the same matches all the time, because they grew up as and got to the top in the days where you do the same match because it's a different audience every time. And now you're on television doing matches all the time, and it gets
having to overcome everything you just did the week before and make it even better.
Yep.
And one thing I miss compared to the old wrestling to now is the surprises. Of course, social media ruins those nowadays, of course. And back then, I mean, it just seemed like you just couldn't predict. I miss the unpredictability of it.
Yeah, it was also, a lot of it was just the format. You didn't see so much, and like I said, if you were a character, you would stay in character. Eddie Fury be just Eddie Fury. No Doug Saunders. I'd just be a dick all the time in public to everybody, and it was like nowadays, like I said, if you can't do what they did in ECW or what Roddy Piper used to do to upset fans, because you're doing literally upsetting things, and you're doing actual horrible things that are supposed to be horrible so that people hate you. But if you do that nowadays,
you get canceled.
Your audience not even you. I remember one of the funniest, but it was one of those things where, okay, pro wrestling's different now, was Paige and Charlotte Flair, when Paige started talking about Reed, who had died like a year before. And instead of Paige being this horrible person doing that, it was, how could Charlotte allow Paige to use her dead brother in an angle? And how could WWE put this on? And what a horrible company making poor Paige do this. And it's just like, yeah, that's kind of, I get it, but at the same time, it's like that makes it hard to be a bad guy. Like MGF tries, and he does a pretty good job of it, but it's like there are so many handcuffs now because you can't be a real bad guy because you don't want to actually offend somebody, you know.
And it's not
I
like
do
you
like
can be
this.
the like vaudevillain, like that's the kind of evil you would do back in the old days too.
Yeah. But nowadays it's not, you know, instead of, and a lot of entertainment is like that now. Like if you do something really bad, you have to do it in a way that it doesn't, you know, you have to be clear that it's bad. And even then with social media, if two morons go, yeah, that was awesome, then everyone goes like, oh my God, that was offensive. And it's making, you know, it's influencing our youth. And it's just, social media is just this one weird thing, you know? But
Okay.
yeah, wrestling's in a tough spot right now where it's highly athletic. They put on really good matches, but it's, you know, like they're trying to figure out how to keep it a good show, but so much social media and, you know, too many, like AEW has the best matches, but they give so much away as not being real in their shows where it's like sometimes and WWE like plays everything like it's real, but some of their stuff is so dumb and just so, you know, set up that it's still
predictable.
Yeah, a lot of it is predictable, and it's tough. They're also dealing with, like, AEW had this problem a lot, and they're trying to get away with it, where it's like everyone's a superstar, so who's going to lose all the matches to make the guys that actually want to draw money look good? You know, oh no, we have to have a 20-minute long match because, you know, you can't have the 150-pound guy that has a cool gimmick lose to the guy that's supposed to be challenging for the world title in 5 minutes. That would, you know, it's like.
You have to have jobbers to make everyone else look good.
But it's tough because it's all on television now. It's not like the old days where, you know, you can pay someone $50 to just show up and do it. You know, it's like nowadays it's harder to do, especially someone that knows what they're doing.
I mean, you can still do that. You just need to find people that are willing to take the bumps or can take the bumps too.
Yep, and that's a problem too. Now it's it started happening in the early 90s where some jobber gets hurt and it's $1 million lawsuit. You know, and it's like, you know, it's big money and it's guaranteed money and it's television. So, you know, they got like the dark stuff and you see guys at indies do, but it's tough. Nobody wants to be on television regularly and be a Barry Horowitz or a, you know, but you kind of need those to build the other guys up. It's just,
but then you still need to build them up every now and again to keep them legitimate.
And that's part of the problem too. Everything's on television and social media. How do you get somebody to, you know, would Undertaker be Undertaker if everyone saw Mark Calloway for 3 years?
Nope.
Now it's like, if 90% of the audience go, oh, I saw this guy on YouTube 150 times, and oh, I know all about this guy, and he's on social media, and now he's the Undertaker. It's like, yeah, it's hard to do. I don't know. You know,
Ray Wyatt on Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yeah, you know, it's just you get familiar with people before they really know what they're doing, and then they find their character. But if they spent 5 years in the spotlight of the, you know, the niche wrestling audience, and the wrestling audience already sees them as this other character, it's tough. It's tougher. You know, it used to be a lot of guys would wear masks, so they, you know, you'd work one territory that's only in this area, and then when you figure it out, you go somewhere else and then become big, and it's tough to do that now.
And that reminds me of listening to I was watching a documentary of Kane, and he was talking about how they would travel. You know, he wears a mask. He would travel from different territories and stuff like that, and he would be driving, but he would have like a hockey mask, kind of like Jason. And Paul Bear would be he would be driving with a hockey mask on half the places just so they didn't see who he was.
Yeah, there was a lot of that back in the old days. Yeah. Now with social media, there's no point.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't do Kiss or that kind of stuff, or what do they really look like? Everyone knows what everyone really looks like.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I remember when the Hacksaw Duggan and Iron Sheik got pulled over and they were in their big feud in like 87.
Weren't you guys just kicking each other's asses like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah. So it's for wrestling, and I like it when it can still do what it used to, but it's like a lot of things. You have to get through a lot of mediocre stuff and stuff, you know, good moves, and yeah, that's cool. Once in a while you get something that's really it's he has good drama. Like the MGF is good at doing that. The MGF and Bryan Danielson were great. The bloodline stuff, where it's good enough that you can suspend your disbelief for a little.
Yeah. All right. So we're at the halfway point of our show. We're gonna do our normal rapid fire questions, just to get opinions and for one very mad cat to get very mad if you say the wrong one.
I'm gonna add one to this at the end, by the way.
Okay. So first and foremost, pineapple or sheep?
Depends on what you're doing with them. I need more context.
Just if you had to choose one.
I'll say sheep.
Okay. Horse or shark?
A horse.
Cat or dog?
I refuse to answer that.
Plead the fifth. I am not going to incriminate myself. Makes sense. Candy Ma'am or Candy Man Dan?
Ooh. I'll go Candyman Dan.
Okay.
I think that's
All right.
Candy Ma'am or Emo Ma'am?
That's a tough one too. I'll go Candyman.
And my usual last one is Nightmare King or the Dark Prince?
I'll go Dark Prince because he did not beat me at Crown Meter 2.
And I'm gonna add one to it, Mr. Las Vegas. Alien Invader or GPS?
Well, you beat him last time, so I know he's got excuses, but you don't have excuses. Mark, Alien Invader always has excuses.
Mm-hmm.
He's very proud being the caboose of Impact, and not getting any feature matches on his own or anything like that.
He doesn't need feature matches. Everyone knows who he is.
Nobody wants to see him. Best in the background,
Okay.
John Paul Verino might get him another Faction Wars win and get him a title shot for something that he never earned, on his own.
Top 4 so far.
Yeah, they're a great team. They're a great team. Mark does his best work with other people's help. He became hardcore champion with my help. Triple threat match against Ryan Pierce.
Ryan the Piercer. Okay. So that brings me into another one. What are some of your favorite feuds that you've ever had in Super Show?
Kobe was awesome because I don't know how old he is now, but I still think he's 12. And I made fun of him. I printed out a permission slip for his mom to come see.
Yes.
And he showed up to Gen Con with the signed permission slip. It was a lot of fun.
I remember this.
He was straight up. He surprised, complete surprise. He didn't tell anyone he was coming. He showed up and he just had the permission slip, gave it to Calais, so proved he could go have his match with me. That was a lot of fun.
How did Calais react to that?
Oh, he thought it was great.
It was hilarious.
Just like, oh,
that was the stuff like him and I could throw stuff at each other and make insults, and we would just come back harder, and we'd both just laugh about it. It was like that's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Greatness was a lot of fun. We went back and forth a lot too. I kind of buried him. It was kind of funny. I kind of made fun of him too because he actually he went into my Facebook to find people to try to get dirt on me, and I was just like, dude, I dress up I dress up on the internet already. What do you think you're going to find that's going to embarrass me?
I will add to that. Most of the time, if they ever did all that, we were drunk. Like we would literally try to figure.
Mark got a little mad at him because he messed with one of Mark's daughters about dirt on me. It's like they don't even know me.
That is a little.
Yeah.
And he was a lot of fun. Like I said, the Kings. When I did my first promo, making with the mullet and all that, talking about we have so much in common with Kentucky, and just running the state down. They came right back with the promo was back, and we had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun when we did it. We had the first mic skills of the year. It was like there was like 5 people listed, and the other 3 people just said, "No, fuck that. We're not gonna." It's Greatness and Eddie. We just walked away.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to compete, and we went at it, and it was a lot of fun. Big Guy was a lot of fun. We didn't quite get to finish that because of reasons, but we'll get back to that sooner or later. And he's a lot of fun doing. We did the whole 2025 stuff, so a couple of years we'll be revisiting that.
Yeah, no, we're gonna resurface that in a couple of years.
Bob Dunn was a lot of fun, especially because I legitimately made him mad for a little bit there. That's why he made Copycat. But he kind of got he got some wins back over me, and he's not getting back, and it's a lot of fun. It's like I drive you nuts, but it's to make the wins that much better. When he got the hardcore, and him and McPeak got the triple threat to get the hardcore off of me, that and you got which wasn't filmed, thanks Foxworthy, where he got to put on my jacket and just tore it to shreds, and it's still hanging on his wall. It's a trophy. It's that's kind of stuff I like to do. Just that kind of stuff that makes not everyone can win the big tournament, but if someone can beat Eddie Fury, and that makes a big highlight of the day for him, that's awesome. So that's the whole thing about being why I'm the best heel, apparently, by some is because I lose well. I'll set myself up to be a big, conflict, and when I lose, it's good. I'm good. I always set it up when I do feuds. I don't assume I'm going to lose. I try to win, and I like winning. I make good decks and all that, but I always have the out if I lose. I always try to set it up where something cool, a cool effect if I lose. I wear the shirt, or if something catches on the crowd meter too with Mikey Nichols, I'm going to totally let him run with it.
Yeah.
Eye on my face. That's the whole point. And
I mean,
that's when people sour on you. If you lose and then you no one can talk to you and you just don't want to talk about it and you just avoid the person. It's
lose with dignity, have fun with it. It's all a game at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. If you're trying to play a heel, you don't play a heel so you can be mean to people and it's that's not the point. I know it's a competitive card game, but if you're playing the heel, the high point of your story is when you lose.
Yep.
That's the whole thing with titles, with people getting worried about titles is the only thing guaranteed if you ever get a title shot is that you're going to lose.
Yep.
You're either going to lose the title shot or you're going to win the title and then you're going to lose that title.
Yep.
Might be in first defense, might be in your 10th, but you're going to lose. And when you lose your title, it's a big deal to the other person. So,
let them have their fun too.
Let them have their fun.
Yep.
I love all my title losses were good.
Oh yeah.
Shogun was a big surprise, and it was a big deal to him, and that was really cool. It was, a big upset. And Bob Dunn was great. He's even greater now because of what he's been going through. But it was, it was a fun match, and I drove Bob nuts for about a year, where I was getting most of the wins on him and getting and driving him out, and then he got some wins over me back, and it's good. It's fun. Makes it interesting.
And you got to take the title away from Cannoli.
Yep. I love taking titles from Cannoli. I'm going to take another one at Grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A title that you haven't held so far, the Triad title.
No, I haven't held that many titles. I've had 3.
But you've held the US, you've held the hardcore, you've held the heavyweight. I mean, you've held
I've had
major titles.
Yeah, that was some good ones.
Yeah,
and it's the thing. I have Eddie has the thing where we're always asking for title shots, and Mark feeds into that. But literally, I didn't know I had a Triad title shot until someone told me I was in the match, until they posted that up there. And when I got my world title shot, I was doing a gimmick where I was trying to buy payoff packs to get a GM's favor to get it. And I mocked up a fake that I planted an AJ Styles and a Trent in, and I didn't show them oh look, I just threw the characters down. I don't give a crap about this. I just want the thing. And of course, 4 people were like, "There's an AJ. How would that happen?" And the plan was Mark had a GM's favor signed by Calais that clearly says Salty Sailor on it. And I was going to do another open. I found that out. I'm like, we got to get that for him. I'm going to do another opening and I'm going to get that and try to get a world title shot with it. But he had forgotten, he had left it at a convention that he was running a tournament in, and it took him 4 weeks to get it back. And he literally got it back. I was going to pick it up from him the next day to do the promo, and they gave me a real world title shot. I'm like, you want my gimmick? And then I won the titles, and I'm like, well, that gimmick's dead now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Hey,
You know,
some of the best work gets scrapped for out of nowhere
you know,
real
so
life.
I was fine with it. I won the world title. Fine,
Mhm.
it's good. We'll do that if that's what everyone wants. But
You,
it's
you,
like
you got to defend it inside a bar, or where were you guys at in Vegas for
it
that?
was at the MGM Grand.
You were at the
We found
MGM Grant restaurant.
I was gonna do before my now passed on cat almost killed Danny Thunder. We were gonna have a match at Caesar's Palace. We were doing at Caesar's Palace, and there were places where you could play. There were lounge areas, relatively quiet. So we were doing the MGM Grand, and I hadn't not been there in a while, and there was no place to play that was quiet. We ended up in one of the restaurants there that had a booth that we could play in, because it was just like all the open areas were now there was like a big video game tournament area, and they wouldn't let us film anything without a bunch of money, and I was like, MGM sucks for that kind of thing. I'm like, God man, we should have just done Caesar's Palace. It would have been easier. But yeah, and Origins was a lot of fun. Jeremy Stargirl match wasn't that fun, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was fun setting.
not every match can be what you want it to be. Sometimes the dice, as we've talked about multiple times on this show, the dice sometimes just do not work for you.
Yeah,
and they did not work for you.
Crow about that fastest world title defense in history. It was faster than I did check. It was faster than Big Guy. They talk too much. I just we just got it done. But it's like if that like for Doug and Jeremy, the match doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, I rolled high 4 times.
Mm-hmm. But then you also did the nice thing, played him afterwards.
It was out of character. It's like, it's even especially at conventions, especially like at tournaments or like a CAC or something. If I'm playing somebody, even if I'm all dressed up, I'll always say, in character or not, because I'm not going to be Eddie Fury and be a dick. If especially like a CAC or something where there's a real prize and you're, or even if you're just one of those guys that it's for a top shot at the underworld title, it's so important. I'm not gonna, I don't want to legitimately ruin anyone's fun unless they're the type of person where there is no way to not ruin their fun except by losing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's just like, which we don't have they don't last in this game.
Or if it's on camera, because if it's on camera, then yes, we're gonna have all the fun.
Well, that is kind of assumed at that point. On camera, that's the thing. If if it's like the finals of a CAC and it's someone that doesn't have a character and it's real important to them, I will tone it. I'm not, I'm not trying to actually get anyone legitimately upset over.
Horse is saying at Grand Gathering, I want any match against you with you in character. You will get plenty of matches with Eddie Fury in character.
Oh, I've got a list. I'm no masks, which I'm happy about because I haven't liked my
getup.
Oh yeah. Trying to do I had the little scorpion looking thing for when I'm doing the karate Eddie Fury, and I had the Joker mask with the splits mask thing, which I didn't like the combo of that. So I might do like I did at the CAC and actually just have the Jerk of Cirque makeup on, because we'll be at the hotel, so I'll be able to go to my actual bathroom and clean it off properly.
Yeah.
Unlike
All right, so we're at the tail end of the show, but we do have a question from the PAX Unplugged champion, the Dark Prince.
Mike?
Oh, hey there, guys.
Hey there.
Sorry about that. I was just trying to do something on the Discord. Chibi, did you do your?
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay.
He picked
shows
the Dark Prince because he was happy that he did not lose to the Dark Prince.
Okay, fair enough. But we will have on a little match. We will, have something like that. But anywho, I got a simple 2 questions for you though, Eddie Fury. One of them is, who will be your dream opponent in LFF?
Dream opponent? Who have I not played? I've never had a big match with Paul Verino. We've gone back and forth at tournaments and things like that, but I've never had a big featured match with him. He ducked me completely when he was world champ, but he also stole my champion of the year. I have like a 10 defense streak with a hardcore title, one of the best title runs ever, but it's at the same time he has his 10 streak with the world title, so he wins. Makes me
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Another question. If you were in any type of company and you went after the tag team titles, which company will you go after, and who will you bring with you for the tag team title shot?
Well, my main partner's split right now. We might be going for the Midwest Coast titles. Dave swears they exist and they'll actually be at Grand Gathering.
I don't think they do.
I'm skeptical.
I barely believe anything Midwest Coast exists.
And Mark Perry's my other partner, Alien Invader with the Vegas Invaders. He's always doing Impact stuff though, so that's we'll see. World title would be nice. It's tough because there's not a lot of online tag stuff, so I'm out here, and so you don't get to really.
Well, here's the thing,
stuff,
you can actually go after. You can go after with your partner. You can go after the AEW. You can go after Impact. Wrestling, title WWE, title ROH.
Probably WWE if I had to choose between those guys. But yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, thank you, and guys, carry on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dark Prince, for
No
Thank you.
problem.
the same questions, but always appreciated. So, Eddie, we're getting to the tail end of the show. We like to leave it off with, if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, ask one apiece, because we're ready for any punishment that you could dish out right now.
Chibi is. I'm not.
I'm always ready for it. That's why I'm the one that takes the chair shots and the kendo sticks and everything else.
Yeah. Well, Dustin, I'm going to ask this
Yes,
for Mark
sir.
Perry. He's my friend, and if I don't mention it, he's going to mention it. Do you think he could be Alien Invader if he didn't forget like 3 of his stops in his deck?
Well, one thing Mark won't tell you is we did play a second match secretly, and I did win it as well.
Oh, there you go. Question answered.
And he did have all 30 cards.
Yeah. Chibi. I don't know. You gonna do a tag team Thursday night anytime soon?
I mean, I can do a tag team Thursday night,
That'd be interesting.
but I mean, it's a pain because then that means that every room is going to have 4 people in it. That's probably the same amount of people, but it's just half the matches, and everyone is just going to be tired at the end of it because you can't really do a full 5-6 round tournament with everything being a tag team match.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, and have it be competitive. Because I mean, we had last week, we had Matt Barone's Strange Bedfellows, where every match was with a new player, but when people come with decks pre-made for it and with a partner that they've picked out, you know for a fact those matches are going to go long.
Yep.
Or, of course, because of the luck of the dice, 1, 2, 3. Hey, look, I hit a 10. Oh, they didn't roll. They didn't roll their 10s and or tag up. They lose.
Yeah, you definitely want a specific format for it. I think part of the Barone's issue was he didn't plan the top cut fully. He was kind of doing it on the fly, so it was because it was an odd number of people. But tags, it's online's like that. I'm online once in a while. I got the West Coast time zone advantage though for Thursday night fights.
All right.
Which is always good. Being able to, I'm not play. I don't have to play until really late. Always works out.
Well, it's tough to get there at the beginning, but when it runs to 3 a.m., it's only noon. It's only midnight here, so.
I'm trying to figure out what's going wrong, Bombada. It worked when I tested it at the start. Something broke. What about this one? Yep, things broken. Always fun.
Oh well.
We'll fix it. We'll fix it later.
You know what? Hit him in person at Grand Gathering 3. Just tally up how many you spent.
Wait, what? No. I am not taking chair shots in person. Those really hurt. I am
he
adorable and
does.
cute. You can't beat me up like that. I'll take it when it's online. I will not take it in person.
I'll put money in on it.
Okay, if I'm getting paid, then sure.
No, I'm paying the people that do it.
Why are you paying them? They're gonna do it for free.
Well, you know.
All right. Either way, Eddie Fury, thank you so much for your time. It is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Dustin, what's coming up?
Well, next Tuesday, we have decided that since it's Grand Gathering week, that we are not going to have a show on Tuesday. But do you want me to let them know, Chibi?
No. We are going to hopefully do something later on in the week, but nothing on the Tuesday. Apologies for anyone that was looking forward to that.
Alrighty, folks. There you have it. Well, Eddie Fury, Doug, I want to say that it's a pleasure to have you. You haven't been on a show, and this is the third season, and it's a pleasure to have you. And I'm grateful that you had a day off to be able to do it. Beat up Mark for me, please.
Oh, all the time.
Okay,
I always make fun of him.
I'll pay you to hit him with a chair.
Oh, what is with paying people to hit people with chairs?
I don't know. It works.
Ugh.
I'm doing the DiBiase gimmick, I guess. But anyway. money
Oh,
has a price.
okay. Cannoli is asking one last question. Will Eddie cry when I retain my title?
Ooh.
Which title? He's not retaining the triad. I can't wait to see what title he gets next, and I can take that title off him as well. Just
I'll
don't go
pay a
for
wall
trios.
to
I
hit
like
Dustin.
trios. So go get like the Underworld title again,
I'll
or
see that.
Midwest Coast title. Get something that I can take off you that I'm interested in.
Okay. Until
But,
then, folks. Until next time.
Doug, thank you, Doug.
It was fun.
I'll see you next time. Bye, man.
See y'all later.